Just got back from work and it is 11:15 at night. It's time to pick my fragrance that I will be reviewing in the morning during my run. So I've got 3 clone fragrances left to go. Let's have a look. Oh, drop one. Right, the number on it is the Essence Full 475. I'll have a look what that one is. It is a clone of Versace Eros. We are going to review the Versace Eros clone for the morning. Morning, of course, it's that time of the week again. I've got my cap on to hide my bad hair day. I've got my high vis top on, which means I'm going for a run and I'm doing another fitness fragrance review. You would have just seen I'm doing a different one today. I'm doing a different clone today, and it's this one here. It's the Essence Vault 475, which is a clone of Versace Eros. Now, it feels quite fitting to do that one today. Main reason is Prada have just bought Versace for over £1 billion. Yes, over 1 billion. And there's a few people who are a little bit worried now. They're a bit worried that Versace Eros may be discontinued, may be reformulated. How's it going to be packaged in the future? And that's why I think it's really good to be doing a clone of it today, because this has been a heavily cloned fragrance over the years. And maybe that might be the only way you can get that scent profile again. But if you haven't seen this before, what is a fitness fragrance review? Essentially, I do a morning workout. So I go for a run, walk to the gym, do a gym workout, and walk back, all while reviewing a fragrance. The weather is awful out there today, so it may not be a walk to the gym, but we'll still make sure we do the reviews like we normally do. So it's ranked on 5 categories. So we'll rank it on its price/value for money, its versatility, its projection, see how much it fills up a room, how much I notice it during my run, its compliment factor, do I think it's compliment getting fragrance, and its longevity. But before we go on to all of that, we're going to talk about the note breakdown. What is in this fragrance? How similar is it to the original Versace Eros? So something that's really well known about Versace is known as a little bit of a clubbing fragrance. It has done for a little while, and the main sort of notes or the main accords that people talk about in it is its vanilla and its mint. And it's the clone fragrance. Does the clone fragrance have those notes in? Yes, it does. And actually, this one gives you a little bit more depth. I've done a few clone fragrances recently, haven't given you a lot on the note breakdown. This one's a little bit more in depth. So it's mint, obviously fresh, cool, energizing in the top. You definitely detect that mint straight away. Get that sort of green vibe, but it's not a really sharp, harsh mint. Sometimes mint can be quite old school. No, it's very nice and clean, quite modern in this one. Green apple, crisp sweetness, juicy bite. I think that just complements the mint, essentially, gives you that green vibe. So, yeah, it's very hard to recognise too much of the difference from that, but get that nice, crisp, fresh mint smell. Lemon, bright, zesty sparkle. So, again, a little bit, I get a bit of a pepperiness here, so I'd be interested to know if there is a bit of a peppery spice in this at some point. In the heart, tonka bean, warm sweetness, creamy depth. Don't get too much of that, particularly at the start. Geranium, aromatic, slightly rosy freshness. Again, I don't particularly detect any floral components to this really, but again, if it's in there, there's got to be a reason why it's there. Ambroxan, smooth, musky, ambery. Ambroxan's very popular in a lot of blue fragrances as well, a synthetic molecule. But yeah, it just helps performance as much as anything, I believe. But then we go into the base, vanilla, sweet, comforting, sensual. When you spray this originally, this clone fragrance, I don't particularly detect the vanilla. I wore a little bit last night, and I did sort of pick up after about 5 minutes, so that's when it dries down into that base. Cedarwood, clean woodiness structure. Again, I think that just binds all the notes together, so it's not too harsh around the edges. Vetiver, earthy dryness, grounding, and then oak moss, subtle green mossiness depths. There's quite a lot of green notes there when you think of mint, green apple, oak moss, and then you've got a few dry woods there. Vetiver, cedarwood, brings a little bit of dryness, nothing too heavy, nothing too harsh, just smooth the fragrance off essentially. And then you've got the sweet notes like your vanilla and your tonka bean. And the general vibe of the smell that I get is this. As I said, it starts with a bit of a sharp, zesty mint, again, probably from the notes at the top, and then that creaminess comes through from the vanilla and it just rounds it off. And actually, probably what it's made is quite a easy to pull off type of scent, one that you could wear in the day, is I think, from what I'm gathering from this, and also at night, where it's kind of got a bit more headline to the original Versace Eros. So yeah, what we're going to do now, we're going to go out for a run. Hopefully it's not going to be too heavy. I'm going to take my old phone just in case. We're going to do the first 2 rounds. So it's price/value for money for the clone, not the original. And also it's versatility. How much can you use this fragrance in different situations? So time to get the stretching done and we'll head outside. The good old British weather, it strikes again. It's like 7:10 and look how dark it is and wet and windy. So I've got my old phone, let's hope it holds up. Price / value for money then for the Essence Vault 675, which is a clone of Versace Eros. So, as with all the Essence Vault fragrances, they're all about, for 100ml, about £25. Now, it's about 50ml, 30ml for £15, and you can get a 5ml sample for a £5. Do I think that's good value for money for this? Well, look, Versace Eros obviously costs a lot more, and from the comments, a lot of people say this smells very similar. I've smelt it before in House of Fraser when it used to be a shop, but I haven't smelt it for a long time. And if I was smelling this fragrance, not knowing what it was, not knowing it was a clone or anything like that, I'd probably say it's, for 100ml, I'd pay about £20 to £30. And I'm probably being quite harsh here, because look, Versace Eros is a very popular, iconic fragrance. But sometimes you become a victim of your own success. I think Paco Rabanne 1 million is the same. When you become a smell that everyone knows and everyone likes, it gets cloned, you get designer brands that start, sort of basing their fragrance on that genre of smell. And even before I'd ever smelt Versace, before I first smelt it in House of Fraser, I remember thinking, I've smelt this before. And it's just because, again, it's been copied so many times, and eventually you become so recognisable and you get a bit sick of it. It's like, I've smelt that before, it's nothing unique, or I smell like everyone else. If you're someone like me, I don't like to smell too similar to everyone else, and it doesn't maybe excite me. Look, it's a very pleasant mint, it's a very nice vanilla, and then the wood sort of tones both down so it doesn't become overly sharp green or overly vanillic and sweet. But I find it a little bit boring, and that's why I'm saying £20 to £30. It's easy to pull off, which means, again, we'll talk about versatility later, you can use it in different situations. In that sense, it's good value for money. It's not too daring, it's going to be pretty mass pleasing, and it is very pleasant. But I do think, for me, look, Versace Eros isn't cheap, but you can get clones of like Tom Ford's that have a more unique scent profile for a little bit less, or sorry, for the same price, £25. So for that reason, I'm going to give price / value for money a 6.5 out of 10. That sounds quite critical, but it doesn't wow me, and it's not overly expensive. So in general, when we look at some fragrances, that maybe for me, I might think if I really love this scent profile, maybe I'd still get the original and just have this as a top-up spray. But it still smells very pleasant, and I think 6.5 is still a decent score. On to versatility. Versatility. How much can you dress this one up, dress this one down? Different occasions, different seasons, all those things. Well, look at my phone screen's already blurring up. So, yeah, I think this one, Versace Eros in general, has got this bit of a tag of being a night out clubbing type fragrance. And for me, how I see it best, I think this is a fragrance for a boy, late teens, early 20s, entry level, starting to go out with their mates a bit, maybe wanting to impress. I think an older person might find this a little bit too juvenile. Look, it taps into a lot of genres. There are obviously geranium, which gives a floral component, which I don't particularly detect, as I mentioned earlier. You've got a bit of lemon citrus, bit of woods, and obviously as well, the nice green notes, the oat moss, the mint, and, with the vanilla as well, and the tonka bean, a bit of sweetness. And I think that's perfect then for this night out. But I'll show you it again later, but you probably saw the juice in this isn't very dark, and I'm not finding this overly a heavy fragrance. So when we say night out, I tend to think of things a bit more heavy. This one isn't heavy at all. This one's quite light. It doesn't feel like it's going to perform really well today. But that makes it a little bit more versatile. I think you could certainly wear this. Wow, that's heavy. You can certainly wear this in the, spring, in the fall. I think the only time I really wouldn't want to wear it is on a hot summer's day, because I still think that vanilla, that creaminess that you also get from the tonka bean, would become a little bit cloying, a bit frustrating. I think that lemon isn't strong enough to kick through. But other than that, it's pretty versatile. I mean, I'm obviously can smell it a little bit when I'm turning corners here, like running. And it doesn't feel too harsh, too aggressive, too cloying for that.
And I don't think it's going to feel like that at the gym today. I think the original fragrance, maybe you'd feel that a bit more, because I think it does pack a bit more of a punch. But in general, I think if we round it all up, I'd say this is a scent that you can wear in transition seasons, in the winter, night out. If you're a younger person, yeah, go ahead, wear this with a nice shirt, dress it up. I think it's got enough though to wear it casually. And as I said, I don't think it's going to be too horrible today on my run, certainly not compared to some other fragrances I do. So overall, I'm saying this is pretty versatile. I think the woods certainly play a part in that, the cedar wood and the dry vetiver just sort of smooths everything off. And for that reason, I'm going to give it a 7.5 out of 10. I don't think an older person, my dad's not a massive fan, I sprayed this on him the other day. He found this one a little bit too young, a bit juvenile for him. But for a younger person who wants a little scent that can do quite a lot of jobs rather than spending a lot of money, I think this one's absolutely great for that. And you can dress it up, dress it down, wear it to college, wear it to school, and wear it for those nights out and date nights. So yeah, 7.5 out of 10. Right, let's get this run done, and then we will talk about projection. How much have I noticed this fragrance during my run? I can't wait to get back.
So workout done, as you can see, very wet, top's gone see-through. It's 9:05, so what I'm going to do now, I'm going to spray my room 10 times. And essentially, we're talking about projection now. So I want to see how much this fragrance fills up my room. So I'm going to go downstairs, tell you how much I noticed it during my run. 10 minutes time, I'll come back up and essentially we'll see how much the fragrance has filled the room. So if a colleague came into the office and you're at work, or if you're just in your room at home and someone walked in, would they notice this fragrance? Would they notice the Essence Vault 475, the Versace Eros cologne? In the meantime, I'm going to spray my arm on each side 5 times. And this is for longevity. So in about 3 hours' time, I'll smell my arm again. I won't apply the fragrance again. I just want to see how long it lasts, essentially. I'm going to have a shower at the gym just to see if it's still there. It still survives. But as I mentioned during my run earlier, very, very clear juice. You can see it's pretty much see-through. You see my hand the whole way through. And yeah, it's not that strong from what I'm gathering. So I'm not expecting a big score on projection. But yeah, let's get these wet clothes off and we'll talk about projection. Did I notice it during my run? Or lemon and matcha green tea. It's very nice. So projection during my run. How much did I notice the Essence Vault 475? Not very much, but I'm not going to mark it down too much on this. I did notice it at the start. So when I was talking about versatility, I was getting quite warm, but once that rain seeped through all my clothing, it completely wore off. And that would be expected. I'd expect that even with an expensive, pretty strong fragrance as well. It was never really going to last a day. That being said, do I think it would have been a fragrance that really would have kicked off? Probably not. I think it would have been one of those that would have been in your own scent bubble, in your own personal space. But I don't think if you were running in a group or anything, anyone would particularly notice it. But again, is that what this fragrance is meant to be? No, it's not. I'm reviewing it during my workout, but it's not a workout fragrance ultimately. So I can't mark it down too much. I don't think it's going to fill a room. If I'm being honest with you, I think I might notice it though, a little bit, like 20-30%. But I'm not expecting big things with this. I don't think that vanilla, even though it is nice and it's very noticeable, it makes this kind of a nice, much softer green. I think that woodiness is going to just tame everything down so much that, yeah, it's just not going to stick in the air. But maybe I'm wrong. Let's hope I am wrong, because I want this to do better. And at the end of the day, the Bond number 9 Bleecker Street clone I didn't expect much, and I gave that a 10 out of 10 for projection. So yeah, I'll finish this tea, head upstairs, and then we'll find out the score. Okay, so up we go. We will see what we can smell. Nothing at the top of the stairs. And absolutely nothing at all. Or maybe 5%, but absolutely really nothing at all I can smell in my room. So yeah, this one hasn't lasted at all. And again, I go back to it. Normally green notes and strong sweet notes like vanilla, tonka bean help elevate phrases. And even ambroxan, this one just doesn't do it. Everything's quite tame. It feels well blended, but just it lacks oomph to it. And I think this is probably more the clone rather than obviously the Versace Eros fragrance in general. It just doesn't seem to have that staying power. I've had this issue with the Terre d'Hermes clone, and obviously I know Terre d'Hermes, the original, is a decent one, but so far with this clone, yeah, it's not really performed that well. And I'm going to have to give this one a 2 out of 10, and I'm only giving it a 2 just because of the weather earlier, and I didn't particularly notice it on my run. So yeah, that isn't a great score. But yeah, we'll talk about comfort factor. I'm going to brisk walking today. It is not currently raining. Either way, I'll take an umbrella and we'll talk about compliment factor on the way. Do I think this fragrance will get compliments? The umbrella is up. So, compliment factor. Do I think this is a compliment getting fragrance? Well, I think any clone house is going to, let's be honest, clone a fragrance because they know it's popular, because they know that people like that scent. And you don't need to be in the fragrance community to know Versace Eros. I think everyone in the fragrance community would know that one. But even your general person have probably heard of Versace Eros. Even if you've got the slightest interest in fragrances, or someone might just buy it because it's on the shelves, it's readily available. So in that sense, yes, I think it is a compliment getting fragrance. But of course, as we touched on a minute ago, I don't know about this one for really. It certainly won't cut through the cold. It's just not got that performance from what I'm gathering so far. And it does feel like the notes in this, they're just a bit tame. I really like it. Wild mint, Azara is one of my favourite fragrances. I love vanilla. Ambroxan I think is really useful in fragrances, particularly again in these blue fragrances. It just feels like this one, it's almost like, say there's like a school bully and he's bullying you. It's like this phrase isn't kicking back. It's not giving me anything back to sort of make me feel excited or make me feel it's got any fight in it. It feels like it's losing a bit of a fight, and in that sense I just think it's just going to go missing. I think it's going to be one of those scents, and it's probably kind of, as I was saying at the start today, it's probably just a victim of its own success. It's been cloned so many times. A lot of brands will base their DNA on it, and for me I just don't think, I think people will recognise that smell, and because they recognise that smell, they probably won't mention it. They'll just know that it smells like a boy's sort of smell. And again, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. And in that sense, as long as you smell clean, I would say that's the main thing. And this will give you that nice, clean, mass appealing type fragrance. So you're going to be able to wear it in many situations, and that will gather some compliments. So really what I'm saying is it's okay with a few limitations for compliment factor. For me, I'd probably mark this a little bit lower, but it's not about me. I think for the general person, particularly at that sort of teenage entry-level type, interest in fragrance, it's probably pretty good. Well, it is pretty good. That's why Versace Eros has done so well, and that's why this brand has cloned it. So I'm going to be a little bit kinder here. I'll give it a 7.5. For some people, I think this is just going to underwhelm, but in general, there's nothing too daring about it. It's going to put anyone off, so don't worry that it's going to offend anyone, because it's not that type of scent. Of course, if I get any compliments at the gym today, if I don't get blown away before that, we'll bump it up to a 10. So workout done, I still got the rain on my glasses. I can't be bothered to wipe them off because of the sweat and salt. But how can I smell my fragrance? How much have I noticed it so far? Well, it's still there, but that mintiness has really come off, and now it's more that vanilla, more the sweetness. And it's kind of lost its, even the bit I really liked about it, like the oak moss and those sort of green notes. It's just a bit of a boring sort of vanilla now. I feel like I've been really negative today. I'm not in a bad mood, I promise. I just feel a bit underwhelmed with this one. But in a positive sense, it's been okay for the gym. This hasn't been unpleasant for the gym. Obviously too heavy, obviously no compliments. But you'd be interested to see how I survive the shower. I'm not expecting a lot though, I must admit. So yeah, let's get in there and then I'll give a score on longevity. Okay, so just left the gym. It's time to try and smell my arms with this coat on and see what we can detect. It's heavy rain. First arm. Oh, umbrella, go away. Second arm, right. So it's nice to finish on a bit of a high note. I can still smell the fragrances. Good 3 and a bit hours since I applied it. I'm getting a bit of that minty greenness again, and I think it's probably more the oak moss than the mint, and a bit of that vanilla, so it's gone back to that kind of sweet green type fragrance, and it is pleasant. And look, do I think it's still going to get you through the day, this? Probably not. It's about 25-30% there, so not horrendous, not amazing, but it's fine. And we've got to remember this is a £25 clone of Versace Eros. It doesn't wow me.
it's fine. If I'm sort of going out and I want something to do a bit of everything all day today, it'll do that. And you know, for a lot of people, that's all they want. I still think this is a fragrance that's going to suit people more at an entry level, or maybe just if you've got a bit of nostalgia with this one. Because look, I haven't got any scent memories. I didn't wear this when I was younger. Or, obviously, I didn't wear the clone, but I haven't worn Versace Eros, the original, either. And yeah, it just hasn't particularly wowed me. I think it's a victim of its own success. I just think a lot of things have copied it. A couple of the next fragrances I've had, a couple of Zara fragrances, whether they're identical clones of this or not, you can get some cheap brands that copy this DNA 100%. But it's fine, as I said, it's still there, that's the main thing. And if you want a bit of longevity, it's a little bit better performer than I thought it was. It'll get me through probably till about 2 o'clock, and then I'd probably want to reapply it. And if you've got the original Versace Eros, this might just be a great one just to slip in your bag. And yeah, just to top up if you want to on a day when you're at work, on a cool fall winter sort of day. But yeah, what we're going to do now, we're going to head back. Oh, I haven't given a score, have I? I don't think I did. 8 out of 10. We'll give it 8 out of 10. Now we'll head back, have something to eat, and we'll count up all the scores. We are back in the room, and we've survived another morning workout. So how many steps have I done today? 38,989, all while wearing the Essence Vault 475, the flanker of Versace Eros. So what was the overall score today? 31.5 out of 50. So it's not horrendous, I have to say. And I've been super critical today. I've not been particularly nice to this one. And it really just goes back to everything I've said. It doesn't wow me. And I purely think, and we're only talking about the clone. I cannot talk about the original. I just can go on the fact that people say it's very similar. It's just, for me, this fragrance feels like I've smelt it a million times. And I haven't obviously owned this one before. I've not owned Versace Eros, but I've got like a couple of next phrases, next signature verse at the moment, which has that nice green woodiness. And it just feels like the vibe, the scent vibe, the scent profile has essentially been replicated so many times that even if you haven't owned this fragrance, you'll just know it, or it won't smell too different, and you'll have fragrances that do a similar job. And I just wanted it to do a little bit more. That's all I'm asking sometimes. Just whether that's to really promote the greenness or promote the vanilla. It just felt like everything was very tame today. It just felt like it needs a bit of a spark to wake it up. But does that mean it's a bad fragrance? Absolutely not. Look, it's very pleasant. I can get that nice mint from the opening. It's a little bit alcoholic, this one, actually, to be honest. It just felt like it underperformed. I've owned a few from the Essence Vault, and yeah, this one probably been one of the bigger misses for me. It doesn't. I think there's 12, £13 fragrances that you could just find in a, back of a shop, basically, that will just do the same thing, and that is all it is for me. But look, can it get compliments? Could you wear it in most situations? Absolutely. There's nothing wrong with this. If I walk around this today, I'm not going to feel like I'm going to offend anyone. I don't think I'm going to get a statement, but sometimes just wear it for yourself. And if you're someone who knows Versace or wore it when you were younger, you might have a better impression of this clone fragrance than I do. I don't really have that memory of it. But I appreciate the fact that it's got many different components in it. We've said it's got floral, it's got vanilla, it's got green notes, it's got all those things, fruity, even some fresh citrus. It just, yeah, I think when you sometimes have all those notes put together and it's been blended pretty well, you sometimes do get quite a easy to pull off mass pleasing scent. And for a beginner entry level person, that might be great. This would be a great gift for someone, I think, who's just getting into fragrances, maybe a teenager, early 20s. I'd definitely recommend this. But will I be buying it again? Probably not. I think there's some more clones I want to get into, and obviously I have a couple more I want to review as well. So yeah, sorry it doesn't sound very positive today, but 31.5 out of 50. I hope that shows. I've not really just reviewed it about me, because I probably would have given a slightly lower score overall, but I think for a lot of people this will do a lot of jobs. So yeah, thank you very much for watching today. Still got, as I said, 2 more to do at the moment, so I cannot wait to have a bit of a guess later on. I'll pick out the draw what fragrance is going to be, and yeah, a couple of good ones. I'm really looking forward to reviewing them. So thank you very much for watching. Catch you later.